Everything seems so dark, so I'll have to lighten it. Let's see. Everything seems so dark, so I'll have to lighten it. Let's see. Everything seems so dark, so I'll have to lighten it. Let's see. Contrast. Everything seems so dark. Contrast is no good. Bear with me, guys. I need to fix this. Creation is too hard. If we just go for the default. Just go for the default, and it's really hard to configure this. Eventually, I will not be able to tell. Correct or not. Seeing the yellows. Every chicken has a voice. It's too red. Let's go for 6950. I think that's enough. Not purple. This is not purple. The blue green. So 6,200. So further. 5660. Yeah. Let's go saturation a little bit. I think that's better. Better, that's better. Other video though is so blue. I don't know which one is correct here. Anyway, so with YouTube, maybe the values are what's important. It's not the color. You'll never know what the real color is. Artist palettes. Right now, I don't see the yellows. You'll never know. Anyway, let's just get on with this. The issue with this painting is that some of these areas here are too soft. I'm gonna try to add more edges to it. The biggest issue here, actually, because this was taken from a black and white photo, which I just, manually changed something like this. I'm sure other artists out there can make it work a little better than I can. I'm not hang up on that. It's just that we can work more skills and make this look better. It's all about, trying it out and working out what's best for the work. So I can't show you the palette. How I wanted to do this by showing the mixing process. I'll just let you know what colors I'll be using. Of course, I'll be using yellow ochre, but for shortcuts here, we're gonna be using burnt sienna. For that, these parts here. For our brown, we're gonna use burnt sienna. Just to quickly, I can lift the palette to you once I'm done mixing it, or while I'm mixing it. I'll just show you. Burnt sienna is good because it's an orange, and it's already desaturated orange. Not, we're not gonna need a lot here. Gonna place small amount of burnt sienna here, just enough for our purposes today. Then we're gonna add some yellow ochres. Basically, you only need yellow ochre, white, burnt sienna, raw umber, and you can, and red. Okay, so you can basically create a portrait with those basic colors. And of course, you can use cobalt blue for our, for our blue. But the purpose of the blue, of course, is for our environment light, right? So our shadow. My blue has dried here. So I had to save my blue. This is phthalo. So I had to save it on this container because, it was drying on the tube and I don't know what's happening. So I had to take out what's left and just that. So, and then we're gonna need some red. Not gonna be using a lot of paint, but small amount of paint is enough. So we're not gonna paint thickly, just gonna glaze over some of these areas. So here it is, right? Our colors. We're gonna mix our green with our blue here, and our yellow. This green will help us desaturate our reds. Okay, so we have our green here, taken from the phthalo and the yellow ochre. So in color theory, if you have one main color, like for example in portraits, it's usually the red that's the main color, right? It's for main colors, it means that it's your most saturated color, right? So you have the most saturated color, and that's going to be your main color, right? Because in anything, in any painting, one color will always be more saturated than everything else. So for landscapes, for example, usually it's the greens that are most has the more saturation. Depends on the type of landscape, of course. Usually it's the green, right? So in sunsets, you can see the purples sometimes are enhanced. Sometimes it's the orange, basically. So our purple here will be to desaturate our yellows. So red and blue will desaturate yellow, right? Green and blue will desaturate red. So to create our shadows, we're gonna mix our burnt sienna with blue here. That's orange. So that's yellow, red, and blue. Our blue is a little bit rich, but that's going to be basically the shadow color, or the water, the desaturation, the color that desaturates everything. So it's basically the color of darkness in our scene. Because in the real world, there's no such thing as black, okay? Unless if you're in space, all of this is going to turn black. Unless for areas like here, so very deep areas, but to make it look good, you don't want to paint it with black just like what I did here, right? And for the hair, it kind of looks like cartoony, right? That's not the way to go. So for the skin tone, let's just mix white or burnt sienna here. See what we can get. Burnt sienna plus white, basically get this. But the skin color of our character here is not actually this pink. It's actually a greenish color. It's basically raw umber mixed with yellow for the highlight. So it's basically a yellow. The skin here is a yellow. You can look at like AI images and you'll see that in areas that are not cheeks and stuff, you can see a lot of yellows. Let's desaturate our, I mixed some yellow ochre and desaturate it with purple. I need to make it a little more orangey because you know it already has the burnt sienna. Desaturate it further. Maybe add more blues to this. Too red. I'll add more yellow. Make sure that it's yellow. And I desaturated the yellow with the purple and then add more yellow ochre just to make it like this, like muddy yellow. Then I can darken that further with the blue. Turn it into this like very low saturated yellow, green, yellow, green, which I can use now by adding white, create my skin color. So this is it. This is too complicated. You can just easily mix your raw umber. Just find the raw umber. It's a cheap pigment. Really easy to use that instead of mixing your own. And besides, raw umber is permanent. A permanent pigment because it's I think synthetic right now. I'm not sure. Even if it's not, it's permanent. Basically, this would be the basic color, right? It doesn't look correct because there's red all around it. But we'll try it. We'll use it. We'll try it. See if we can bring this up to light enough. I'm not gonna use this brush. I'm not gonna use small brushes. Because people are saying that it's boring to watch. But sometimes you don't want to ruin our painting, so it's just... I'll add more white to it because it's actually basically the same color. So I'm adding more white, just a little white. See where it takes us. Too desaturated though. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow to it. It's gonna look yellow here. Yeah, gonna look yellow. That's okay. What I want to do is basically fix this area here. So I'm gonna lay down a base stone from which I can work with. Now I'm adding some red here. So it's now pinkish, right? Which will help us make this. You see, without that thin base, it would be hard to like create this automatic kind of thing that's going on, like a mixing on the screen. So that's something to look into. Really nice to have that. And let's darken it with our purple here. Bit more. Still too light and too desaturated, I guess. So I'm gonna get like a fresh burnt sienna. And you can also use red ochre for the reds. It's really nice. I really like to use red ochre for my right. So this is orange. To make it dark, desaturated, I'm gonna add some blue. Seems like my phthalo is too strong. Kinda looks dull. Let me add more blue. Or more red, I guess. And now if I'm trying to create like a like a strong dark red, and you can achieve that with actually just using your burnt umber. Yes, I'm handicapping myself here, which is kind of stupid. You shouldn't do this, what I'm doing. Trying to mix burnt umber. I think I've been able to achieve a little bit. But there's a risk here of making all this look muddy. Already starting to look muddy. So. Um, a little bit saturated just to balance in our brains. It nights to desaturated. So one person, I read her comment on Facebook, and she said she was looking for like a method that doesn't require you to think a lot about warm and cool and stuff like that. Just plain painting, basic colors and stuff. And uh, I think that's a good idea. But okay, you will eventually need to at least create colors that are dull, not necessarily warm and cool, but dull and colorful and dull, or saturated and desaturated. There's no way, I think, that you can create something with just pure colors. Have it look at least acceptably natural. Like here, if I made it too saturated here, it'll look weird. There's no such thing. This amount of saturation in the face shadows. I'm gonna need to be consistent here because if I follow the light condition here, uh, I'm just thinking right now. It just came to my mind like just do something else, do something better than this. Like use uh, a different reference. Stop using bad examples. Apologize for that. It's just that sometimes when I'm working on something, I just wanna post it up because most of the time we won't be painting like Pinterest girls, right? We're gonna be painting people from our lives or family members, and most of the time their photos are not really good, not good for painting. So one, I'm a little bit torn if I should just go ahead and turn everything here into shadow. It's already there. Let's see, we'll see. So the advice was not to make everything soft. And if you notice, there's this software called GIMP that you can use for your photos. And it's gonna, there's in the filters, there's an option there to use like artistic. So you go filters, artistic, and then go iterative clustering. So what it does is posterize your image. And by doing that, you actually can see like a sample of how it would look like if you uh, posterized your painting, right? If you painted in a poster way like this, you're gonna see how it looks like. It's not, you can't use it as a final product. Sometimes you can. It's really hard to use it because it's too let's say it's too even, like it's too mechanical. It looks very mechanical, like looks too machine. Like it's too even, everything is too even. So what I'm doing here is using white just to lighten this up. So I added red, right, to make that area warm. But then it's too bright, it's too dark, so I added just the white there, mix into that color. And if it's too dull, I could just use yellow here, some yellow. If that's too pure, Add more white there. Now the downside to this method is that it can actually backfire in a way because there's too much paint. Be careful not to add too much paint on the surface. But what we're doing is actually mixing on the surface here, and that's what gets people in trouble usually. It turns their painting into mud, because if you mix every color, you're gonna get like a dark dead color, right? And there's an easy way to fix that. You just can either let it dry or just scrape everything off. So here you can just instead of just using like this is where the cool and warm plays into the painting, because as you turn your face here, as you turn this face, like the shape is here, right? So as I turn it away, you'll have to use like a cold color, meaning it's filled with the backlighting or the shadow color, right? It has a taint of the shadow color. Going to allow you to turn painting. Yeah, I just wanna, since it looks kind of, maybe green is not the way to go. uh Maybe green is not the way to go for this. Maybe blue, because it's blue here. I'll just warm up some of these areas here just to remove that dull color there, because I don't like it. Given that we have this we have light essentially coming from everywhere, in reality none of this should be in shadow. What it was like in the original photo, you know. The here, I'm not blending actually. I'm just placing it down thinly. Focus on that here. Let's see if we can use a warm light here. Enhance that section. Let me get that this dust buried under the paint here. Take that out if I can. Avoid that looking dead skin. Let's just add like a stroke of burnt sienna here. Keep it looking warm. Bring in the purple now. And this is a little bit dangerous for me because the entire color scheme doesn't have any purple in it. Once I start adding all of this colors there, it's just gonna create this weird effect. You can always try it out. Maybe add a little bit more yellow. Oops, wrong spot. Wrong spot. We are at risk of creating mud here, so I'm just gonna pull the color up. I don't have tissue paper, so I'll use my wipe here. Pull it out. And let's add back the warmth. So that purple, that purple didn't work. So let's add some reds here in the edges just to make it warmer. That's the warm and cool there for you because you can't escape it. Some point, unless you wanna like paint cartoon, and you can use just single color, like a monochromatic painting, which is good. No, it's not like I'm not doing that. Even now, I'm still doing monochrome. Cut it here, make it like shining. If I don't blend that there, it's gonna look like shiny, right? Because there's a warm here, like a saturated edge, and cool, right? Desaturated, and it's cooler, so it's purple. Then we go back to warm. So warm, cool, warm. It's gonna create this like weird effect. It's a good weird. They call it like a vibrancy. What's happening is like we're saying that the warm light hits the surface, and then it's like lighting the skin that is bluish beneath it, and then it's glowing from here. So that's what we're saying for our paint. So if in the shadow you add like a warm color, it means that some kind of light glowing through there, especially with hard shifts like this. You know what? You know what? Let me get a raw umber. Burnt umber. Okay. This is stupid. I have lots of it here. Keep trying to mix it. Wasting time. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm gonna use some medium here because I mixed these paints with using safflower, which is not a very durable film. Look, if I mix it with just raw umber with just pure white, it's gonna look like this dead color. Yeah, it kind of looks dead. It's not good. And it turns it into a little bit more purple. So I'm just gonna add yellow and red to warm it up. Warm it up. Bring more red into that. Now as it comes in contact with this yellowish brown that I'm using here, raw umber, everything's gonna look weird and muddy. It's because the color scheme here is not the same. That's one problem. That's one thing that can make your painting look muddy, is because you're changing colors. Uh, like for example, if your shadow is like a yellowish, your dark color is like a raw umber, it's yellow basically. And you add like blue to it or purple, it's gonna kill that. The vibrancy is gonna become weird. So These are these concepts are actually, you can't like predict it. You can't use it like you have to actually see it to know what it's doing. You can't like uh, you don't have to predict going to happen right now. You can just work on it. Like for example, here it's too dark for me. Add some white there. uh, Make it brighter. I can see that this one is still bluish. Gonna add like warm there. That warm. It's so much better to have a painting that uh, don't use too much grays. Basically, this transition here is a gray. It's a gray. It doesn't have enough of the saturation. It kind of looks cool, right? It kind of looks fresh and cool. Sometimes it confuses us. So it's better to just here's the yellowish skin tone. So when we're looking at skin tone, we kind of, the confusion comes because we're looking at everything, right? And that's what we've been taught, right? And it's hard to look at it uh, from the perspective of a camera than in real life, because in real life you can actually see that the skin is a little bit glowing. It's not like a dead color. It's actually like it's glowing. Our skin is like glowing. It's like light is passing through everything. This here is like that. So instead, because our brain expects this to be shadow, right? So it should be dead. By example here, right? Because I've shown it here. That the color should be dull. But then I added more color to it. It kind of makes this effect that this is not actually this shadow is not just darkness. Some light is coming through. That's actually making this duller look duller. And if I make that warmer now, it's it's too much. So let's add white to add dull things down. Still keeping the same value, but not too much. Not too much colors there. white with the raw burnt umber. White is bluish, titanium white. It kind of make things look a little bit dull or cool. Oh my god. Ay nako. These cats. Like a psychopathic cat. It just comes here and kills other cats and then disappears, carrying the body. I actually lost two kittens to that cat. Weirdest. The weirdest cat ever. I didn't know that. They actually kill their own kind. Okay, so I lied. This is not actually raw umber, like a pure umber. A little bit purplish. I just noticed it now. So it's like in skin tints, like in pasto skin tints, you have this pencil that is a dark color. It's purplish, right? What it is. Like brown. I think it's called brown ochre. Brown oxide brown. It's okay to do it like this, like to have different colors in the same area. That kind of makes things more natural than if it was a single color. Like if I used just burnt umber here for the shadows, everything, it kind of looks weird, weirdly artificial. But if you mix it down, like there's warmer areas, cooler areas, and there's actually like variations of colors there. For example, here I'm gonna use like a yellowish, a dark yellowish, mixed with my I'm gonna darken it with my red oxide here, but there's a lot more yellow to it. If I paint it here, lighten it a bit, emphasize the shadow here. Have that color like be there somewhere else. Gonna make things look more natural, even if it's not correct. Like all of these colors that I'm using are not correct. These are just colors that I added here. Don't see a person that's in the real world that's colored like this.